Ladies and gentlemen, we are live here on Sportswire Radio in prime time on the brightest lights, the biggest stage, the platform that most certainly our guest and the companies that he has and has worked for in the past have certainly helped build. But normally, I would go on and do my long war chant of an intro, and we'd give our guest a warm introduction here. But this is probably not the episode that we're going to get that. And also, for those that have been following, our guest actually has said he wouldn't be coming back on to Sportswire Radio. So this is kind of why, really, this is a little different here tonight. I'm going to try as best as I can to refrain from some of the things that our guest is going to say, but he is certainly entitled to speak, and he's going to speak on a number of different events, and I'm going to give him that opportunity shortly. I do want to introduce him. He is certainly a man that has helped build this platform. You have seen him, obviously, as the ROEW champion. He was also the All Wrestling Matters champion. He is undoubtedly one of the greatest champions of our generation here in the underground. His 2 runs as the ROEW champion has really been, I think, is what put the underground and this platform's wrestling circuit here right in the front and center, and put us into prime time on the brightest lights, the biggest stage. And without further ado, like I said, Champ, I know you don't want to be here basically in character, but I'm going to pass the baton to you off here right now. Ladies and gentlemen, we are now here joined by the ROEW champion, 5 times a world heavyweight champion. I think he still is or isn't the leader of natural selection, the puppet master, Jason Storm. Champ, how you doing here tonight?
Well, considering last night, IMF All Out Warfare, people can say wrestling is fake all you want. I am sore. I got my ass whooped last night, so we'll start with that. But I'm doing well, all things considered. I was blindsided by a certain clip that was aired on Friday, I think. Friday it was.
Weekend Warfare, yeah, Friday afternoon, Friday
Yep,
afternoon.
by ROEW. Obviously, a lot of people already know the whole kind of spiel that, me and Chris of ROEW have had a disagreement, and as of right now, it looks I'm no longer with ROEW. It looks like natural selection is no longer a thing, and it looks like they're trying to move on with a new champion, I guess.
The prestige champion would now be the world champion, which would be Cash Carter. Obviously, your colleague in natural selection, that was what CJ had made the decision to do. Obviously, many of us are fans of ROEW. And so how did this all happen? I mean, this is certainly something that, we were all taken aback of, at least as fans. Admittedly, I kind of speak for some people here in the chat. And so what happened here?
So it kind of starts a couple weeks ago. Me and Chris had a whole plan. Obviously I dropped the All Wrestling Matters title to him in relatively convincing fashion. I think it was 4 minutes or less. Tapped out in the sharpshooter to him. That was fine. It was all kind of to set up Weekend Warfare, champion versus champion. I was supposed to do some heel work and win the title back for him because, since we're breaking the fourth wall on ROEW and airing out clips that I didn't even know existed because I didn't know there was camera footage of that conversation. I'll just say Chris doesn't even want to wrestle. He's been obviously made it known to the public he wants to retire. He's made it known privately to everyone in ROEW. He doesn't really, he's not interested in a retirement tour. He's certainly not interested in, he was supposed to initially even be at IMF last night. Obviously, he was not there. The list goes on, really, but essentially the disagreement goes because we filmed the match. We filmed the match, that we talked about with me kind of beating him with some heel tactics, and that kind of the dust settled. And a couple days later, he came back in, me, him, and Colin, Cash Carter, for anyone that doesn't know, Colin Black. We have this kind of like a 3-way group chat of like communication of where, ROEW is going, the plans, like what we're all doing. And And Chris basically said, he was editing the match. He didn't really like it and wanted to do something else. Obviously, completely fine with that. Cool. So I'm like, cool, we can refilm the match. We can do a different match, whatever. I show up to the taping and him and Colin basically try to convince me, we think it's best that you drop the ROEW title to Chris. And my whole point was, I don't think that makes sense when I have this whole run that I've been doing with the ROEW title since November. I have quite a bit of momentum, I would say, in the community.
Yeah, I mean, I've said it on here.
fans.
Objectively, your run has been one of the greatest of this generation. What you've done these last 9 months, the opponents that you've defeated, the places that you've gone to, and the storylines that you've touched. I mean, it's we're going to look back, regardless of what happens between you and ROEW or anywhere else. We're going to look back on this years from now and say that run Jason Storm had really was generational.
Yeah, so I mean, I appreciate all that, first of all, but first and foremost, I feel like there comes a time, and I feel like everybody in wrestling knows this, where you have to advocate for yourself, you have to advocate for your character, you have to advocate for what you have going on. And if we look at facts, and these are literal facts, I'm not trying to insult anybody, I'm not on here to bury Chris, essentially not, especially, I mean, not Colin, which I know obviously Colin is more than likely probably siding with his brother. That's kind of, where it was leading and why I was kind of filmed behind my back. But nonetheless, the whole natural selection run was to put over Colin and Alex. Literally to put them both over, to make me look absolute shit in the end. Garbage. The whole run was to put Colin as the top champion, as ROEW champion. The original idea, he was going to get this whole double champion prestige and world title run, which admittedly I advocated against that. I thought the roster is too small. I don't think anyone should be double champion on our roster, whatever. But that was what they decided. Whatever y'all want to do. I wanted to put Colin over. I wanted to put Alex over, because if we state facts, and this is the community's words, everybody talks shit about Alex. Everybody thought Alex was a joke. I wanted to turn that around. I wanted to put momentum behind him. I wanted to put momentum behind Colin, who at the time was C Money, which great in the ring, no character behind C Money. What was C Money aside from the in-ring work, right? So I felt, with what was being presented to me during this little argument, I guess, I felt like my momentum, my run was being extinguished, stomped out. And it was like, what did I do this for? Because in my opinion, ROEW is Chris's company. Behind the scenes, it's all him. It's his baby. He's been doing it since 2007, whatever.
Yeah, sure.
For the last 3 years, who has represented ROEW the most? In Indiana, in Iowa, Ohio, me. I show up to these places. I'm the first person that took that championship belt and defended it in another state, Indiana. I showed up on CBW, which obviously, we all know about Indiana and how that
we spoke about that company earlier. Riley Bates is in the house, and he was there. So,
right.
We talked a little bit about that. Sure.
Right. I showed up there. I represented ROEW and defended that flag there. I advocated for ROEW in Indiana. And then in IMF, I've also defended the ROEW title in front of a live crowd, in front of Palo.
You guys have a great crowds there, by the way. Some really great crowds you guys have been
banger of a match me and JX had for that very championship title. So long story short, I feel like, first and foremost, I feel like what was aired on Weekend Warfare kind of depicts, it's more of like a smear campaign, in my opinion, because it doesn't depict the whole story. It kind of just, Jason took his ball and went home. Jason took the belt and went home.
So just to make sure for the audience, this is legitimate, because sometimes people would say, well, maybe this is just a way, because, there's been some talk, I'm going to, pull the curtain a little bit back. There's been some issues with Comatose and Aaron Blaze. And originally some people were like, well, is this maybe a way to get some more heat, get some more views? But really, they've had some issues, and I'll leave that up to those guys. I'm not trying to get in the middle, but the same way
No,
here.
so
But you're saying this is legitimate, then this is
is
to make sure.
100%. This is 100% legitimate. Like
Okay.
I fully didn't know that Colin was filming that footage. I had no idea. Like I mean, I told him F off, but it was kind of like a heat of the moment. I kind of just turned quickly like F off, and I walked off. And I said in the footage, I'm taking my belt that I paid for, because when ROEW rebranded, first we were using an ECW replica championship supplied by me. I've put a little bit of money into the ring. Colin has fully put, obviously, the most money into the ring, so I'll give him that. But I wanted our own world title, something that, was ours. I went out and had that made. I had that shipped. It literally was shipped. I was still living in my dad's house at the time. So people are acting like I walked off with with ROEW's title. I took a belt that I paid for. I brought this to the table for ROEW, and I feel like I don't want to. I'm not trying to hold the belt hostage, whatever. I'm not trying to do any of that. What I want is, cooler heads to prevail, to come to an understanding and have something happen that makes sense. Obviously, it's kind of spiraled, and I think it's a little past that. So,
he had said you were no longer a part of ROEW. Would you like to be in ROEW still? I mean, I think that's a question.
As it stands, and as I feel like I was treated, no, I don't want to be a part of ROEW right now. I don't. I don't think I can stomach going and being around. So here's the thing, and this is all kind of like, this has been building behind the scenes for months and months and months, and I have multiple people that can corroborate these stories. Chris is, I'm not going to say he's, some people may compare him, and I may have said in the heat of the moment that he's, on a flesh level, but he's very difficult to work with. He's stunted the growth of ROEW. He said no to people joining on multiple occasions. I've advocated for people to join. He squashed it out. I've advocated, I'll use Jacob Collins as an example. I've advocated for him to have title runs, and each time he starts getting momentum, for some reason, Chris or Colin or somebody says something they don't like about what Jacob's doing, or he can't show up for a week or 2 or 3, and they pull the rug from under him, and they do it to Alex. They nitpick. When Justin Parsley, literally, I was talking to Parsley about this last night.
Okay, he's here in the chat. Our whole monitor's here in our Hall of Fame monitor's here in the chat. He's here.
Parsley shows up to ROEW. Chris makes him run the ropes. He wants to make sure he can bump correctly, run the ropes correctly. Nitpicks. Oh, make sure you're on your left side. Make sure you're doing all this. And I get it. You want to look professional. You want to look great. But you have names like Parsley that, and more. You have Omen and Soulja throwing shots at IMF in that video too, saying that I have an ego because I went to IMF. I have the same opportunities as Chris though. Chris has the same offers as me to go to IMF and doesn't take them because he nitpicks his spots. He nitpicks what he wants to do, and ROEW included. And I can't sit there and be a part of a brand that I'm trying to help him build. I'm trying to get people to come. I'm trying to get new guys to join. I'm fully willing to offer to help train. The wrestling knowledge that I know, I'm not going to say I'm fully trained, but a lot of people,
you've come a long way. I mean, there's no question the work
I know my way around the ring a little bit, and I think whatever I can pass on in that regard, I'm fully committed. It's like, it's a no. So how do we grow the brand? How do we move on? What was his name? The coach. Chris
yeah.
He said it 2 years ago, though, talking about growing the brand, and that how Chris was stunting the brand, and we see it literally right now because he literally actively will not let people join ROEW.
But is that, you think, because maybe he's looking for a certain type of, again, I don't know. You're the champion. You've been there. You know so much more than I would. Admittedly, I'd be the first, not to really know a lot of this. But is it maybe because he's looking for a certain person that he'd like, and because maybe sometimes other companies bring in people and they come on here and you look at them and then you see maybe they're not as what they you mentioned.
I'm not gonna say everybody's meant to be a wrestler. I'm not.
Sure.
Obviously there are certain people that have been presented that obviously should not be a part of ROEW or any wrestling company. I'm not arguing that fact, but what I'm saying is there are people with potential and that we can work with. And on this level, there's people doing far worse on camera being talked about in the community. I'm not talking shit. I'm stating facts. I'm just saying.
No, I understand. And in
I'm not trying to be
ROEW,
an
I
asshole.
always say it. Listen, and I'm going to be upfront, and I say this not just because you're here. ROEW and IMF, they're the bread and butter of my platform. I'm going to be totally honest. These are like that's why, like, this is kind of for some people unfortunate because, I always go back and say to me on my platform, the companies that I really feel helped us the most. And I'm not saying anybody, else didn't, but in terms of who's been here almost, not since the beginning. Sean Jovi was the first one to be here, but I look at like ROEW and IMF, anybody that's affiliated with those companies, I have a special debt of gratitude, to put it that way. So I hear these things, people are going to be disappointed because, I know on Sportswire, I think a lot of us come in and when we hear you coming here, we hear CJ in the past, or we hear anybody IMF. I see Justin here. I see Kron here in the chatter, anybody else that's, been here. We look forward to having you guys on here. I think people get excited because of what this is really your platform. And ROEW and IMF, we're right there and helped growing to where we are today and such.
Ask Crown and Forsaken too. They've seen Chris have full-on meltdowns about people joining, about the littlest, and everybody makes mistakes in the ring. We're all like I would say at this stage, a lot of us are at the beginning stages of wrestling. So we're going to make mistakes. Stuff is going to happen. Yeah, we should always aim to be at the top of our game. We should be training. We should be putting in the work. Everybody should be. If you're in the ring, you should be, putting in the work like you want to be in the ring. But having like full on, like damn near tantrums about, let's look at Kyle Shelby's record in ROEW and what Kyle Shelby has done in ROEW. Why do you think that is? Because Chris nitpicks his work. He's seen that, maybe Kyle needs a little bit of training, needs a little bit of help sometimes, whatever. And he hasn't worked with a single ROEW guy. He's worked with who? Drew Shelby, and he did the match with Mikey Blackheart, Mikey Mercer.
Mikey was here. You wrestled him before. Yeah.
It's like we have people joining. People know who Kyle Shelby is. Controversial, maybe.
Yeah, people know him here, but I'm with you on Kyle. I do think that Kyle, he really, he's went through some things in life. He's tried. I don't know
like it's honestly, it's like petty bullying. It's like it's literally like middle school or high school bullying. Like it's kind of like the vibe at these tapings sometimes. And I'll admit, I've fallen victim to taking part in some of that, but also it comes a point where, like, if we're trying to grow a brand and we're trying to have an image, and also I'm trying to build an image for Jason Storm as a character, as an entity. I'm pushing that on TikTok. I'm pushing it on Instagram.
Yeah, I mean, you've been great on TikTok, by the way. Your TikTok
followers. I'm exploding on TikTok.
Dude, you got like 600 followers in a day. You're basically taking James Taylor's thunder. I will put your link up in a minute.
Yeah.
I will.
I'm putting in the work for that. I put in the work to push ROEW. A lot of everything that I'm pushing for me up until last night, my first appearance in IMF, that I did not represent ROEW. I did not bring the ROEW championship to Palo, Iowa. But nevertheless, every time I went to IMF, represented ROEW until last night. And it's weird. It's weird to say that I'm not going to be a part of ROEW and I'm not going to be representing that anymore. But, I want everyone to know, like, this isn't a vindication tour for me or anything like that. I don't care if you support Chris or ROEW or you like the content. Keep watching, keep supporting that. That's cool. But behind the scenes, I'm at a point in my life where I can't be surrounded by toxic people like that. I can't be basically ridiculed for trying to have a different opinion, trying to have a different idea of what, I want to do for my run, for my title reign, whatever. And more power to Chris. He wants to do whatever he wants for his company. And people will argue and say I'm not doing the right thing because I didn't play ball or I walked off, but I don't see it as that because I've been pitching ideas and I've been trying to come to the table and come to an agreement on, hey, let's work this out. How can I, let's be real. What is Chris to gain from getting another title from me? He's been over. He's going into this retirement. Why are we not putting over somebody like Colin?
Well, some people, not me, but I've heard from the grapevine, other people have said, well, people retire and maybe it's not a retirement. Do you think that this would be something that's legit? Because Kron was on here.
I've been pushing at Chris to find out if this whole retirement thing is a work or whatever, because he just put that message up one day on Instagram, and he said something behind the scenes in the chat.
A lot of guys are actually. We just had on the guys from, Riley Bates and SBW. He talked about they have one more season next year. We know LBYW was also in the chat. This is their last season. So, it's not an uncommon thing. Dalton Skull is here in the chat. He talked about that. He's got a year left in the ring. We know Kron's
the longevity of the underground is short. I'm not going to say I have years and years and years.
We're not all James Taylor, who could be arm wrestle until I'm 50. Taylor is saying he's in the best shape of his life and he feels great.
I'll say, behind the scenes, I talk shit about James, but I give much props to him and Kron for what they do. I've worked with Kron, and that's the other thing. All I wanted to do is have a one-on-one clean ending match with Kron, and Chris will not allow that in RWW for some reason. We've always had to have some wonky, weird finish, whether it's a DQ or me walking out. And I get, you got to do heel stuff and all that. But I'm like, dude, I want to have these, matches with these guys. Chris is talking about, I want to have a match with Kron, blah, blah, blah. I want to have that match too. I want to wrestle Forsaken. Why have I not been able to wrestle Forsaken? I've been pushing for a year. I want to wrestle Matthew Forsaken.
I don't know that. I don't know. Last year. I do have to tell you, to be fair, yes, and that's your TikTok, which you just put up. Please follow Jason on TikTok. But in the interest of fairness, I do have Cash Carter here. He has a couple of comments I'd like to be able to put up on the screen because he has some differences, and I'd like to be able to give everybody a fair shake. And he would like to say, why are you acting so innocent? He also wants to go on and say that you said it yourself. Roster's too small, but we had to make a mid-card belt because you refused to drop the main belt multiple times. I was supposed to beat Delta, then Big Man Cam. You had disagreed.
Okay, but the mid-card belt was made when I wasn't even doing anything in ROW. I was injured in June of last year when that title was made. So how is that even relevant?
I don't know. That's obviously you guys would know that stuff.
Well, let's talk about my record last year because I went to Iowa in June and wrestled Almond Black for the DKW World title.
Yep.
Won that, injured my shoulder. I didn't wrestle for 2 months. Yes, I was on ROW TV cutting promos. Who did I wrestle more than anybody last year on ROW TV? Alex Cross.
You did, yep.
Alex Cross. No offense to Alex Cross, but me as the longest reigning ROW champion of all time, why am I wrestling Alex Cross every pay-per-view? Because Chris was putting Delta in the hot seat for his title run. And I wasn't bitching or complaining about Delta's run. All I'm saying is when Delta got hurt, the ball was put on me. It wasn't put on Colin.
Right. And then he lost Big Man Cam right afterward, which I think is
not my decision. That was his brother's decision.
Okay.
Not mine. I didn't advocate to be the champion. And when I gain momentum on my own, when I build a following on my own, when I start becoming the best at promos, the best on the mic, the best with character work, these guys want to have a problem with me and try to paint me as the villain, try to put me at the stake? No. That's bullshit. I'm sorry. I know you don't do the swearing thing on here anymore, Tom, but it is.
You could, but I can do the button. If you want, do it. I'll let you do it. Go ahead.
I'm trying to keep it as calm as possible because, I've done this heel run for 3 years, but for once, honestly, I'm trying to do something for the wrestlers behind the scenes and the fans because from what I've seen and from literally what everybody else has been telling me, other than a select few people that, push and pry their way with the people that kind of I guess, call the shots in these places, that's fine. But most people want to see a decisive end to my run. That's not somebody that is on their way out.
Yeah, I think, you know
Themselves
what,
over.
objectively speaking, as we're here with the Puppet Master, Jason Storm, if you're here, please subscribe to his TikTok page. Please support the companies that he's wrestled for. He wants us to support. But no, my name is the Reverend Tom Bryce. We'll get to everybody. A lot of people want to talk to you, and I know this is one of those things. But, you know, in one sense, there was kind of maybe some hard luck in ROEW because Jack Delta, like you said, gets injured. You know, unfortunately, what happened with him and Soldier. Big Man Cam obviously gets the title right afterwards. And you were in a group with him originally in CJ, and then he obviously exits stages left. And then you think about what
I did not want to be in. I'll say I wanted to turn babyface.
But do you think about them? What could have been? Here's the thing, though. What could have been, though? You know, not to take a side, but maybe from CJ's perspective, he lost two big draws. You know, he put a lot into Big Man Cam. I said it on here when Big Man Cam had first won the title. He had Diesel vibes to me. I mean, I thought that you and him could have been, you know, something that you would have been the chaser. Maybe you would have had back and forth, and maybe you would win the title, and we would maybe be in the same spot in a different way. But he lost, you know, two big guys, two big guns, and maybe, I don't know. I'm just trying to think, like, what's your thoughts on that, losing those two guys, and maybe how that implicated the situation? If
I mean,
back.
obviously, like, you know, I like to say that I'm the you know, the best ROEW champion. I mean,
statistically, in terms of the runs, yeah. I mean, you got ROEW to where, and you own the company too, by the way. But a storyline, remember that?
Delta's run and the names he was facing, you know, he was on fire, and I think that was a hit when we lost Delta, and you know, it sucked. It did, and I thought, you know, I wanted to see Delta. I wanted to see Colin win the belt from Delta too. So, you know,
it was kind of a push for that. I do remember that. You know, we wanted.
Despite what he thinks, I do have the better, you know, heart of him, Alex, Jacob, anyone in ROEW. You know, I've had guys like Delta and like Cam, you know, put a rocket on my back essentially and put me over. You know, Cam put me over for the belt. That was, you know, none of these guys have had to put me over. I've been trying to do the same, you know, in return. You know, obviously we have to tell a story and get there, but I've never once been in this for myself. I didn't, you know, like, literally.
I want to get to people in a minute, but, you know, I want to ask you this.
Go ahead.
I have some people here in the chat. I want to plug somebody, particular promoters here, and I'll get to them. And I even see the former ROBW champion, the man that you obviously took the title from, Big Man Cam here. But what would you say, though, in that, you know, when I think about ROEW, right? Obviously, your run was amazing. Look at what you did there. I look at what Jack Delta did in the short time. I thought he was going to or have had the best run in his career. Big Man Cam is here. Was a guy that, you know, he was elsewhere, but really in ROEW, he was also right there. You look at guys like you mentioned, Jacob Collins, Cash Carter, you know, Cronin Forsaken had some great work there, but like, so would you say that ROEW, though, did help a lot of people? Because I do look back and what CJ has done there, you know, from, you know, at least, again, I don't know. I'm not in that locker room. It's not fair for me to get in the middle because, you know, I've had a great relationship with, but when you say, everybody's come in here has done great.
I wouldn't have, you know, a following, anything to say. I wouldn't be on Sportswire if it wasn't for ROEW. So I'm not throwing a jab at I love ROEW. I love, you know, I literally have stood for ROEW from day one. I've literally, you know, turned my back on people in this community, and, you know, I've taken sides for ROEW. So if anyone loves ROEW and has represented ROEW, it's me. But it comes a time where I'm not going to let people, you know, disrespect. I'm a grown man at the end of the day.
No, I understand that. Look, you got to do what's best for you.
You know, Chris has a daughter too. Everyone's got a family, all that. I'm not, you know, I'm not saying I'm above them, but I'm just saying, like, I'm a grown man with kids with real shit to do. At the end of the day, I'm not getting paid to wrestle in ROEW, so I don't have to put up with that. I don't have to put up with that.
Listen, you know, it is one thing, but I do have a promoter here that, you know, actually lives not too far from you. And, his name is Hubie Jenkins, and he wanted to say, Forsaken is going to be an EWA next month. You can be an EWA and have the match with him. Ball is in your court. Now, this is a company, by the way, that just came on here to Sportswire Radio a week and a half ago. Their champion is going to be coming on here. Stay tuned for the details on that Thursday night, 9:30 p.m. Eastern time. And, they're not too far from you, another state over. And maybe that's where you need to go to have that match with Darkron or Matthew Forsaken and have these matches in a company like the EWA. What would be your opinion on focusing elsewhere and such?
Well, it's funny you should say that, Tom, because I have a bit of an announcement, and before anyone jumps to this is a work, it's not a work. None of this is a work. It's literally, I've lost my home front. I have a home in IMF, but I can't travel to IMF financially every month right now. So with that said, I've been in talks with a Fed in Michigan as well. And
Okay.
I'm not sure that I'm allowed to disclose where yet, so I'm going to keep that under wraps. But pen is almost to paper with these boys, and I think they're kind of in line with what I represent and what I think the underground community should be, and they want to build their channel. So I'm going to join and help them build their channel more. They already have quite a bit of a following, and I've pitched an idea to them, and they're on board with it. So let's just say that maybe I won't call it the ROEW Championship, but maybe I'll call it the Underground Championship. I don't know yet, but I'm going to finish my title reign.
Well, a lot of people would love to sign you. I mean, obviously,
I'm going to finish my title reign in this new company, and I'm going to take my championship belt, and I'm going to put it on somebody that actually deserves it, and somebody that's going to push the underground wrestling community forward. So, no, I'm not going to be dropping it to CJ Black.
Okay, well, I mean, yes, please support the EW. But, let me get to your predecessor, Big Man King.
Tell them to message me on Instagram, and I will get in touch with them as well, because, I'm going to be open to a lot more weekends now.
And by the way, I will say this: you do draw views, by the way, because you got us a lot of views tonight. We have 24 people on YouTube right now, so definitely we appreciate that greatly. And hit the sub button for the EW. I want to say hello to my buddy Blaze the Bingo Hall, who's walked into this, and let me get to Big Man Cam, your predecessor, because he has a couple things to say. Then I want to go to Kron. He says, there's one more comment behind it. I side with Jason on this one. ROEW saw me as nothing more than a transitional champion. As soon as they put it on me, they told me I was losing it in less than 2 months. Why take an undefeated guy and kill that momentum? I didn't even want the belt because I wanted to keep that streak up and make it mean something when I lost. Me and Jason worked with what we had. Respect. He didn't even want to. And then in parentheses, he also wanted to say, I'll put this out there. My belief is this. The reason there was so much heat between ROEW and Company B was because before the stuff came out was because CJ and X, letter X, are the exact same people, just different ages. That's what he has to say. He worked in both locker rooms, and so did you.
Like I said, I don't want to directly make that comparison, but I've heard a lot of people throw that one around, and I do appreciate the sentiment, Cam. For the people that have reached out in support of me also, and I heard a lot of kind words at the Palo Center last night. It does mean a lot to hear that people are backing me on this, and that I do have, people that believe in me and believe what I'm standing for. So that does mean a lot, Cam. I appreciate you.
And I do want to get to a super chat from our friends here in the EWA because they gave us a super chat sticker. So can we return, if we have 20 plus people here in the chat, so can we return the favor and go hit that sub button for the EWA, because they are going to be a company that Mr. Kron and Mr. Forsaken are going to playing ball in. And I think some other people here in this stream.
Storm pop up there any day.
Yeah, so you need to go up there and hit that sub button for them. And thank you to the EWA. And their champion will be coming on here Thursday night. Stay tuned for the details. But yes, please support the EWA. But I have a lot of people here. Dark Kron wants to say it's a really fun group. Had a blast out there. Kron has been talking to me for weeks about them. I want to put that out there.
Comatose, my attention actually.
Comatose wants to co head his, and I see Aaron Blaze is here, and I'll make sure that they're separated on the stream. I'm only kidding. Well, maybe not. Not going to lie, my man. This last year, you've truly made me a fan of you. I really hope wherever you go or whatever you do, you excel in it. You're a magnificent character worker and storyteller. Justin Parsley, the hall monitor here, is doing the good business. He really should be my Johnny Carson here. No, my Ed McMahon to Johnny Carson. But you have even an offer from Promo Wrestling here. Promo Wrestling. I got to get to my buddies in TPW because they said that if you want to be a promo wrestling character, they would offer you that here. Let me read the comment off from Rocky, and I can't find it, and I don't know why I lost the comment. There we go. Hello to Rocky, and then he goes on to further say, there it is. Jason Storm, you could maybe give promo wrestling a chance. I know you're a busy man, but you've already got an offer.
I think I've had promo wrestling offers. Maybe it's something I'll try out. I'm not sure yet, but
okay.
I'm trying to see. I guess obviously I'm going to be continuing my work in IMF.
Yes.
Like I said, I got this new Michigan Fed coming up, and kind of whatever else is.
So busy. You're super busy, and Big Man Cam also wanted to say he was upset about his finisher being kicked out of, and he'd asked him to because it would have meant something, and he still wouldn't kick out of his finisher.
I would not. I refuse to kick out of his finish.
Also, Aaron Blaze wants to say that CJ is nothing like the other guy. Take it from me, sadly. Can both be highly opinionated? Yes, but he's not a bad guy because of it. That's his opinion. He worked in both companies. What's your thoughts?
I'll say the other man made my pregnant wife go pee at a dollar store instead of in his own.
You know what? I don't even want to.
I'm not going to say Chris made my wife do that ever. Chris has met my daughter and my wife. It's nothing like that. So I'm not going to make that comparison. I can say like booking wrestling, only booking wrestling. I can see the comparisons maybe. But I don't think Chris is a horrible person. I just think he has an ego and he's a bit of a bully sometimes.
Well, I mean, look, you certainly know. I wouldn't know enough of those things. Dakota wanted to say she's, first of all, sorry she didn't say hi to you yesterday. And Sean Jovi's here in support. He's your boy, although you guys might be on opposite ends of the spectrum in IMF. Group-wise, in character, everybody. Yes, hello. Christian Backyard Wrestling would like to say hello. I spoke to them off the air. And also, Sean Jovi wanted to say that this situation reminds him of when Craven Rage stole his thunder at last year's King of Palo with the whole cash-in for the WCE with the interstate whatever championship it was then at that time. Yeah, it was the interstate championship. I stand corrected, but
I don't know. I'm just kind of baffled at all this. Honestly, I'm still like I didn't even really try to think about it too much this weekend because yesterday was also my mom's 5-year death anniversary.
I do want to send my condolences and prayers. I know I sent it on Facebook, but I do want everybody in the chat, please keep Jason and your thoughts and prayers on that.
It was a great turnout at the Palo Center. I did get pulled over arriving at the venue, so Palo's Finest did greet me on my way into town, but despite no tickets, so we're fine there.
all right, that's good.
Despite all that, it was a great night. A lot of support from the IMF crew, my friends there. It was awesome. So I can't even. I kind of just am counting my blessings right now in terms of like. I do always have a home, I guess, in this community.
A lot of, I got to be honest, again, aside from your character saying you weren't coming on here, guys all love you over the years. I mean, they're all here, they're all here tonight. It, wasn't like, oh, okay, Jason's got something to say and, nobody's going to tune in. No, you got everybody that, has worked with you that's here, and thank you, CBW. While I am technically on the radio in politics, three stations, but thank you, CBW. Let's direct our words to Jason, but thank you for the kind words. And hello, Riley Bates. And also, they're also in the state of Indiana. And I'll also say what Ox is saying, I got nothing but love for both parties. Northern Indiana is where CBW is from. Also, Justin would like to say also worked in both companies, that both guys are great, just not together at the moment. I guess maybe that's reference to you and CJ, I suppose, could be. Also, I'll keep it simple. This is what Kron wants, and a lot of people want to talk to you. I'm going to get to everybody here, I promise. I'll keep it simple, Jason. I back you, brother. We all seen the footage, and I agree with you, bottom line, man. So Kron saying that, and he's, he and Jovi are probably the most universally respected members of the underground and backyard circuit.
Me and
That's
Kron have literally been pushing for months. All we want to do is have a full singles match together. We just want to do one full singles match. No screwy finish, no. That literally. So I appreciate those words, Kron. Seriously.
Okay. Dalton Skull would like to say, me and UWA had this issue a year ago, but we all patched things up. Also, it was insulting, but I dealt with so-and-so before. It's hard to get guys to wrestle and build your company. Yeah, I think you talked about that. We read Cash Carter's comment. Also, never cross paths with RWW. Would love to work with them in the future. I may not know you very well, Jason. I want to say I'm sorry that things are happening with you the way they are at RWW. Hello from Hubie. I read Cash's comment off. CJ taught me a lot, but I've seen that control freak go too far. But like you said, it's his show. That's what, some people would say, Champ, is that, it's his ring. It's his company. He's built it. And, he might be entitled to do what he would like or what he feels to help his brand. I mean, that's kind of what he said on his side.
I understand that view. I do. And he has control of the YouTube, all the social medias. But arguably, when Chris came to me, and his brother, Colin, didn't want to wrestle at the time until ROW became relevant again. Just saying. So when he came to me about doing one last match, I didn't want to wrestle. I wasn't a wrestler at the time, but I learned how to wrestle, and I wrestled this match with Chris, and that's how ROW rebooted. That was the whole reboot. It was supposed to be a one-off anyway. And so I stayed on for the reboot, obviously, because if we're building momentum, if there's going to be people wanting to see it, why am I going to, Chris was my friend, like my best friend at the time. Why am I going to?
Well, it's what you guys have done in, 2.5 years. I mean, you guys went from a couple of hundred subs to, almost 1,350 subs, and, Kron, Forsaken, the IMF guys, Justin Parsley, Jack Delta, Aaron Blaze, JX. You guys had some really big names come into the circuit,
Another kind of point to that, though, is we could have been bigger. We had opportunities to be in these mega community groups at the time.
The first Summer Bash last year.
The Summer Bash, but Infinity and the Backyard Wrestling Nexus. Chris got kicked out of both. Dalton Skull can vouch for that.
Yes, I do know the Nexus. I was around for the Nexus a few years ago thing that you guys, yeah. Well, look, I mean, that's, it's hindsight's 2020.
I'm just saying, I would argue that I have just as much stake in ROW as Chris, and I've represented his company more than him anywhere else I've been.
Yeah, you did great. I mean, listen, like I said, you did a great job, but I'm with Comatose. This is definitely a damn shame, and no one should nitpick anyone. We all learn at different stages. Like, sorry, we can't be perfect. Yeah, I mean, that is true, and that's what we try to do on here, and, and give everybody a shot. I'm sorry for things that are happening the way they are at ROW, and I'm going to make my announcement. I'm never going to ROW, and I'm going to stop watching ROW and not support ROW. Well, I'm not going to go and say that. That's up to the people to decide. Follow Jason on TikTok, and he does think that you and him would be. And I think you guys have been in these multi-matches together and different things. And we did get to what Hubie wanted. And I Thriller Mania is next month. We're talking with their champion on Thursday. Stay tuned for the details. And also, you and IMF too could be. That's another thing. You're both history with IMF. You're both long-standing history in IMF. That's another place where that match could take place. And I would agree with Ox, the Summer Bashes, all the different places, Halo Center, Winter Clash and Rage in the Cage, all the places you've been in IMF. That's a good point.
That would be insane.
Yes, and I agree. Listen, I would love to see you guys could do a best of 7. Some matches in IMF, some matches in New Place, some matches in EWA, and yeah, I mean, Sean Jovi, Mark Fazilla's comment.
Ron, write that down. Write
Well,
that
I
down.
got it. I got it down. And hello to our friends in BTW who are going to be back here next week, and they're here. And yes, we do. You did bring the views. I will tell you that much. You brought the views in, so you're definitely a draw. And you're always a draw on here. You've always been a draw. It's more. It's like more people are a draw than other people. Well, listen. Let's not. Obviously, we appreciate everybody here equally, and ultimately, we're not as big draws as King's X frontman Doug
I'm
Pickett or
gonna make
Rhino.
a comment on the whole draw thing. I'm just gonna say a lot. A lot of it comes down to less is more. I don't. Other than TikTok, I'm not like posting a bunch of
But I
stories.
think it's the run too. I think the
I'm not
run that you've had.
Sportswire a
People...
lot. I don't even hop in the comments on Sportswire.
No, you don't. But I think it's
Less is
also the
more.
run you've had. I think that your
I mean, that
storyline.
definitely plays into it, and the work I put in definitely plays into it. But also, the biggest tip for anyone that feels like if they come on Sportswire or any other interview or even your wrestling matches and you're not getting views, less is more. Less is more.
Well, I mean, that might be told to some of not our backyard and underground guys, but some of our indie wrestlers. I love our indie wrestlers that come on, but that's a different show for a different time. I'm just going to say that. But maybe I'll come back to watch ROEW and support ROEW. Also, we've got that. My opinion is if your mic work isn't great, you're not going to get over, and you see that a lot with people in WWE. Guys like Drew McIntyre early in his career couldn't get over because of mic skills. We got into Big Man
First couldn't.
Got into that. Also, yes, we love EWA, and I think that's another company a lot of people are excited for. Yep, much love to you, Jason. Of course, your fellow colleague. It is his platform. He's definitely here in solidarity. EWA, is that door open for everyone? Yeah, I think that answer would be an enthusiastic yes. Jason is an amazing champion. I couldn't agree more. Our hall monitor has done his share of promoting, even though you guys were on opposite sides of the spectrum yesterday, but he just shared our link on X.
Yeah, in regards to me and Parsley being on opposite sides, never meet your heroes. I am no longer a Justin Parsley fan.
See, there you go. There you go. Yeah, we got that. Who else we got here? A lot of people want to talk to you. Yeah, Jason Storm's an amazing champion. How about this idea? Maybe you could start your own wrestling company. Is that something you would want to do? I mean,
so I'm in, like I said, I'm in talks with the Michigan company, but
okay.
The alternative, I'm kind of looking into like, getting a little bit of a backing, maybe somebody to kind of do it with me, but maybe start up a federation of my own. Yeah, but we'll kind of see what happens. Like I said, I think I have pen and paper at this new. I don't want to say their name yet because I mean people.
Yeah, don't do it because you know what? It'll spoil the surprise. Well, I'm sure you'll talk about it when you come
There's
on.
not too many Michigan, so
No.
put the ideas in your head and wait till the moment happens. But
I don't know
if and when it happens, it's going to be big. I can tell you that.
Yeah, and that's why we all want to support Jason. Jason's definitely top tier. Also, please hit the sub button for the EWA. Also, here when we have our shows, I would love to. There you go. You've already got the red carpet rolled out for you, and congratulations. I think this is somebody that you really should say hello to. That's is here supporting you. I think you should know who this is. I would think, right? Hello, yeah. You want to say hello? Thank you for tuning in. Okay, there you go. I consider Jason like a little brother. I'll support him no matter what, heel or face. That's saying a lot. Also, Rocky's really trying to convince you, and they have their match results tomorrow, I believe.
For anyone that doesn't know, Caitlin's my wife, by the way. Hello.
I knew that, but I didn't want to say it. Yeah, I knew that because we're friends on Facebook. What the fuck? Yeah, there you go. I'm sure we'll take care of that. Yeah, Justin's got his interest in it. Who else we got here? EWA needs some IMF guys to show up. Jason still wants to hug you. I mean, I guess she's gone from Cash Carter to you now because she wants to give you a hug.
I appreciate the support, Zilla. I mean, like honestly, you say heel or face, and I guess
now let me get to one of your other predecessors, and man, you have a lot of history within the ring in ROEW. Jack Delta would like to say it's a very unfortunate situation. Jason has always stepped up when everyone else has failed, including me. A genuine soul. I hope this situation can eventually resolve itself. This is obviously one of your predecessors here in ROEW. Man, you've got much history with Jack Delta.
Yeah, and on that comment, I will say, like, I don't want to. I've stated, and Chris has stated that I'm clearly done with ROEW, but I don't want to shit on Chris or, I'm stating facts tonight on what I've seen and what other people have seen, and other people can can back up whatever I've said, or Colin has his opinions. They're brothers. I get that part. Family, blood is thicker than
Well,
water.
I'll tell you what, I think you generated the most people on just the live stream we've had here maybe in like 6 months. So I mean that people, they came out to support you. Jason, you do seem like a great guy. Would love to welcome him to do 1 or maybe 2 shows in the future. I don't think CJ is a bad guy. I just don't agree with his choices. That's fair. Darkron would like to say Delta said it best. Good to see you. Yep. And Zilla's got a crush on Jack Delta.
Honestly, from somebody like Delta saying that, like words like that, it's crazy to me, because when I started off wrestling, my biggest claim to fame is Jack Delta put me over in my second match. That's my wrestling fun fact. So
no,
to see like what I've built for myself, and arguably Jason Storm is a Jack Delta tier name at this point in my career, and I don't want to put that on myself, and I'm not trying to be cocky or arrogant. I'm just saying I can recognize the momentum that I've put forth and the work that I've put forth, and people do recognize my name. People want me in their company. So I mean, if Chris doesn't want me in his company, or I don't want to be in his company,
well, we had
EWA
EWA wanted you. We had Indiana. We had promo guys want you. I mean, there's plenty of guys that said they would like to wrestle you. I mean,
really, it's like I lost a platform there, and he blindsided me and was able to get his opinion out on his platform. But obviously, and shout out to you, Tom, for the quick turnaround on getting me on here and being able to tell my story and get my side out there. But whether it's ROEW, whether it's in Michigan, Jason Storm is not going to die. The run that I'm on is not going to die.
Well, I think judging by tonight, that's not going to happen. And I would put it out there.
I'm
CJ wanted to be here.
You can't get rid of Jason Storm.
I don't think that's happening. You're a generational champion.
Like, this is real. Like, this is legitimate. Like, I know it sounds very promo-esque. This is real shit.
Well, that's what listen, I watched the show. I was in the chat Friday, and then I saw it. You messaged me. And my inclination was like, okay, is this, we go, because, like, listen, sometimes you don't know, and it's fine.
I naturally get why everybody is leaning to like, oh, they're working everybody. It's just, it's another angle that ROEW is doing. I was already like fully like, I was annoyed because I'm like, everybody's just going to think this is fake. Like, it's not. Literally, like, for once, this is a genuine like disagreement with me and Chris, and I'm just, I'm just trying to have my own back.
And I think it was important to get you here. And like I said, I want to put that if CJ wants to be here at some point, we'll give him the floor as well. But I do think that you reached out and you have been so influential. I always say it, to me, the names that are synonymous in growing the brand. It's Sean Jovi, Omen, and Soldier. Kron and by proxy his brother Matthew Forsaken. Anthony Steele. Jack Delta. I see here. There's certain names, yourself. CJ, so to me, those are the names I'm going with when I think about Sportswire, who was here, from the beginning, but especially you. I think about Omen, Soldier, Jovi, James Taylor, Anthony Steele. There's a certain, Darkron. There's a certain, I think, affinity that many of us who've seen this platform, that's why you needed to be here. Hello to Jason Parker. Definitely shout out to you. Jason, if you like a bracelet from me, just send me a message. Yes, we're all praying for you. Very, very sad. And yes, thank you, Dakota. Definitely appreciate that. Yeah, we got a turnout tonight. We definitely appreciate that. And that guy who I'm not even, and I could do fireworks worth of comments, but I'm not. That guy is a lot of things. I know. I think CJ is still a good guy, and wrestling differences. And I think CJ didn't allow some of the things that other guy did. He did some things, that I don't even want to talk about them. I will not even.
I will say, like, that it's two different levels on the people behind wrestling in that regard. But
I mean, we're talking about bullying. We're talking about people that came on here. I don't want to get into it. I don't want to waste an ounce of breath. I just got featured in blabbermouth.net, the heavy metal version of Rolling Stone. Saying this. Yeah, 1.5 million followers on Facebook. 6 times I've been in the magazine. The manager of King's X watches my shows. He watches. That's why we want to be down the middle here. Just saying this, it's sad taking something like this for people to be this invested to see what's going on with ROEW. I think people, though, definitely have been invested in ROEW. But I understand the point. Would you ever do trampoline wrestling? You never know. I don't know.
I don't think.
I don't think. I think
Never
Jack Delta
kid, but
answered it for you.
trampoline wrestling doesn't seem like it's in the cards for me. But you never
Who
know.
knows?
I
Listen,
mean, my
Chase
back is
Wakefield.
pretty
Listen,
trash
Chase
after that
Wakefield
all-out
just came
warfare
back
match.
and did it, and so did James Taylor. Jason Storm is my guy. I love working with this guy, and it's been a while since Sportswire's been this lit. Yeah, it's been a minute. Probably since Rhino. Why is it sad? This is just a common thing that happens in the yard, the underground wrestling. I actually agree with Jay. Well, that's a segue. That's a segue. Stay tuned. Stay tuned. Hello to James Taylor and top of the morning there, Mr. Taylor. I think getting a taping together is hard for every backyard fed. There is nothing wrong with everybody trying to get together for a taping. Okay, that's a good point. There he is. Yes. Hello to James Taylor. He doesn't know if he's a boss man anymore. Boy, cue the segue here. James Taylor. Yeah. Let's. You know what? Yeah. Omen, by the way, on his show and his platform said good job yesterday. Without spoiling it, we'll talk about that. I'm sure. And I've changed my mind. Zilla now wants to come to IMF. Good. I don't know why she didn't want to come to IMF before. I never understood that. I don't get to every show here, but I got to get to Cash Carter. Who put you over in your first match?
It was Chris with Colin's help.
Okay, well,
if I remember correctly.
Hello to Mrs. Storm.
But arguably, I've put over.
And Jake Dvorak was here Wednesday night, by the way, who's got something really big he's going to talk about. He just was in 814 Wrestling. He says, your boy. I mean, you got a lot of people here tonight.
Actually, shout out to Jake Dvorak and follow his TikTok and push his shit as well.
I do.
He's got some big stuff happening.
I know Wednesday, and he's here Wednesday at 8:00. I want to see everybody here tonight for Jason.
I'll be at work, but hopefully I can sneak my phone up to watch.
Well, you're Jason Storm. That's okay. But yeah, Jake will be here, and I'm excited about it because we were supposed to do it last week, and I'm doing it now this week because I may have to get a tooth implant next week. But I got a guy who trained with Seth Rollins. It would be great to have three guys who've been doing this for a while. Hello to Jake. Northern Indiana. I still support Cash Carter. Yes, thank you. We like Cash. Everybody's cool with Cash. Hello to Pro Wrestling, the legendary Pro Wrestling Footsteps, 16,000 plus followers on Instagram. And I wasn't aware of what's happening with ROEW and Jason until today. Sorry what's happening with you and CJ. That's from Jason Parker. I agree. And catching up on the chat, I disagree with Blaze's first statement, but it is sad it took this much people for this to be invested in ROEW again. So, I mean, did you feel that, before I'm going to bring somebody on, that ROEW has been declining? Do you think, from your opinion, that things have been waning in interest? Is that fair?
Well, I'll say since we moved locations, it was rather difficult to get a certain booker to actually want to come outside because it's hot out. It's been a pretty hot summer, so
I know I'm here in New York. I'm hot in my basement.
Yeah, I mean, I get it. Trust me, because it's just been rough with the weather, like the heat, rain, luck. But yeah, I think momentum is kind of stalled in ROEW with the location change. We were doing good in the garage and ROEW studio.
You guys were great. I mean, that's what attracted me 2.5 years ago to you guys. The garage setup and what you guys had. I mean, there was something I
kind of felt like when we were going to move to outside that we were going to lose like a bit of our uniqueness, a little bit of our image. And I don't know if that's correct from the fan standpoint. That's for anyone else to decide. But that's, that was a situation out of anyone's control really anyway.
Listen, it's life. You know what? It's life.
Yeah, life happens. That's not,
But I do have someone here that you were actually supposed to, finish something with, and that's the reason why they're here, because it's been a big topic on this platform for months, what was, I guess, supposed to have happened here, and he wants to give his side of things because, he was the owner of ROEW, and that's why it does kind of make sense, and that was James Taylor. And James, I mean, you've heard, I'm sure, a lot tonight, and you were supposed to be the guy to get this big blow off with Jason Storm and ROEW, and I have to get your reactions and what do you think happens now, and what about your future?
Well, my future is just going to keep going wherever I'm going. But I mean, this is no character work. This is just, it's sad and it's bullshit. It's not in any way out of character. Jason's been tremendous in doing what he does best and being the performer that he wants to be. And just like other said companies that we no longer mention, just like a lot of companies that are in the underground and backyard, everybody's entitled to their opinions, but I see the bullshit a mile away. You can call me an old man all you want, but with age comes wisdom. And that wisdom is that every single time it's always the booker and the owner who is selfish. And I could see the selfishness. We all saw the shit of what's been going on between Jason and CJ, and I think it's crap. It's bullshit. And he's getting the same treatment that I got in said place. He's getting the same treatment that a lot of people get. And I think it makes guys who are owners jealous of the fact that, hey, someone else is getting over with my world title and it's my company and I want to be the face of my own company. That's just the way I see it, and I think it's bullshit. So Jason, props to you for getting out of the toxic place. If you think it's toxic, you just need to keep doing what you're doing. But I don't know.
But what about your future then in the company? Because
Well, I mean,
obviously,
I wanted to have a match with Jason. That we've made this thing, relevant as much as we can. Me and Jason talk behind the scenes, setting all this shit up, and we're wanting to fuel our storyline, and you know it. And
I know. I've heard it here
Jason,
on the chat. I mean, I've been here
That's
with
the
us.
thing, too.
Jason can vouch for
With
it.
James and with everybody else, I invest hours upon hours in on Facebook Messenger, literally setting up storylines, setting up, putting in the work to make ROEW. Like a lot of ROEW product that comes out is from here, not
voice
from Chris.
messages,
A lot of it comes from
calls.
here. A lot of times Chris will come up with some bullshit and I'm the one piecing it together. Real talk. And James can vouch for that one. He's seen the chat. But yeah, it is selfish. Like we already talked in the beginning. Chris was his whole shtick was, I'm going to have the one title run, and I don't want to put the belt on myself because I don't, I want ROEW to be different. And now he's circling back. To me, it sounds like he wants to do a John Cena retirement tour. Like that's really what it seems like, and he wants to do his little handpick, maybe 3 or 4 title defenses, and hang it up at the anniversary show or whenever he's deciding, and that's that. I don't know.
He wants
Do you well, let me ask you a question, and I don't mean it in any facetious way, but do you think that talent outside of ROEW should come to ROEW after what you've said here tonight? Do you think that people who haven't been in ROEW before, should they show up to ROEW from your vantage point?
I'll say to anybody, and this goes for ROEW or any Fed, indie, wherever you go. I literally said this at IMF last night to a lot of their full-time guys. It comes to a point where you have to protect your character, protect what you're investing in as a wrestler, because at the end of the day, your image as a wrestler is going to precede one company or one federation. Jason Storm's been in multiple places. I haven't just been in ROEW.
Yeah.
I've mainly been in ROEW. A lot of my content has been pushed from ROEW. A lot of my best promos have been in ROEW. But I can be Jason Storm in IMF. I can be Jason Storm AWL. Wherever I've been.
Right. Company X, Company Y,
back up. Honestly, I don't know about the Alabama thing, actually, because that's Chris's cousin. So you probably scratched that one off the list.
Well, I'm not going to speak on that. I know that we had on a different company from Alabama, Rex Wrestling, and, then ADT, had AWL's back, I guess. I don't know the situation enough with that to comment. I don't want to say anything that I don't know about.
I'll say I wish AWL the best. I think ADT was cool when I went down there the one time.
Yeah, I really liked ADT a lot. I know some people felt certain things. I know people, but I think that they're starting back up again. It seems like, they've always to me had a good product, the ring wise, I think the talent. So I would love to see, any company succeed. And I
Yeah,
think AEW
I
is
haven't
one of them.
I haven't heard anything from him on the ROEW situation. I don't know if he
Okay.
follows Sportswire anymore. I'm not poking and prying at people about this. I've been minding my business, but
Yeah, no, I think I get that. And I do,
nonetheless, I just appreciate all the support from the people that do support me and do want to see me continue to be, Jason Storm or be the puppet
yeah,
master
and I want to
or
get
the
to pro wrestling.
Cyclone
Stuff.
or the Wild
There's
Card
yeah,
somewhere else or anywhere else.
and I think we all agree ROEW is definitely a great underground backyard company. But people obviously it's like James said, it's some good and some bad. And Jack Delta also wanted to say it's really hard for me to watch the product when I'm not on it. I'm pretty sure that's the case for most people. Obviously, sarcasm. Please don't hit me. And look, it's sad that this is happening. And I think also and the reason why James is here because I was really looking forward to, as a lot of people were, to see Jason Storm and James Taylor, that this feud would maybe finally come to the light and see you guys in a ring face to face. And from what it seems like, that's not happening in ROEW. And I don't know where that could happen. That's obviously a question you'd have to ask other people and where they could host that. But
And James will have to collaborate and find a spot, but I still want that match to happen.
James, do you consider yourself a part of ROEW still? What is your situation there with that? Do you know, or is that I'm not trying to get
I've been left in the dark and have no idea what the hell is going on.
Have you spoken to?
I've reached out to both Chris. I reached out to Jason, and Jason's the only one who's been talking to me.
Now let me ask you a question.
I don't know what the hell's been going on.
Have you spoken to other roster members? Anybody else that's in or on the roster? Have there been any communications, whether it's a Jacob Collins, who we just saw on TV, Kron's here, Forsaken's here, Kyle Shelby, his name was mentioned, Alex Cross, he was mentioned obviously during the segment, but have you both maybe spoken to some of the other roster members, and what do they think?
I will say Kyle Shelby did try to talk me off the cliff, if you will. He thought I was, having a bit of a crash out because of some personal things that were happening. I spoke to him, let him know what was just going on my side. But that was kind of that. I haven't heard much from Alex, so I don't know where he stands. If he's, Alex joined ROEW because of me, so I don't know if me leaving affects him being a part of ROEW. I have no idea.
We haven't seen him on TV much this summer. That's a point that was made.
He's got a girlfriend, and he's a little busy now. So.
It's hard. Listen, it's life, and maybe in one sense, maybe not to defend CJ, but if he's thinking about retiring, maybe it's a lot to do this, and maybe that's where his head is. It
does become a lot. Like I'll say, like even 2 points. Like I think this run has been great. I've built some. I'm not gonna step on anyone's toes, but I'll say I've put forth some of the best work that has come out of the underground wrestling scene, the backyard wrestling scene, whatever you want to call it, in 2024 and 2025, and. Having 2 kids and dealing with real life and working, this shit does become exhausting. It does. And, some days I'm even like, why the fuck am I doing this? But, the grind never stops with whether it's the real life job or this, wrestling is like a drug in a way,
Listen, you know what? And you can't keep coming back to it. You can't get enough. But your run, I think these last 2 years is definitely been exciting, and I mean there's somebody here that would like you to drop a hint, but I don't think we're going to get a hint. You kind of told us you'd be going somewhere, but I'll tell you where you are going. You're in IMF. You're going to be wrestling in IMF from time to time. You've obviously got some stuff there that you would like to finish. I'm sure you'll see stuff there going forward, and the public will have to wait when that's something you want to decide and announce other places. But for now, you are the part of IMF and aligned with the House of Wolves. But let me ask you a question. And you do consider yourself officially the ROEW champion? Would that be a statement that's accurate, or what do you see yourself with this belt?
Like I said, I don't know if I want to call it the ROEW championship right now. But I will say I think a lot of fans and a lot of people in the community want to see the title run completed, and they want to see somebody put over for the title. So whether it's, obviously it's not going to happen in ROEW. So Whether it's Omega boots back up, whether it's IMF, somebody is going eventually to win this championship from me, and it's how it's gonna be. I'm not gonna let I'm not gonna let some little disagreement and some pettiness stomp out everything I've built. And like I said, the four letters that are painted on this championship, I've represented more than anyone else. So if anyone has rights to this belt, it is me.
James,
That's as simple as that.
and I do want to, before I get to anybody else, and James included, Chase Wakefield is here. And to recap the news, just so people know, because a lot of people are here, some people are in and out. The news is that Jason Storm and ROEW have basically parted ways. I don't know if it's necessarily mutual, but right now there was a major conflict with the ROEW Weekend Warfare show. And obviously, there was supposed to have been a match between CJ Black and Jason Storm, and there were different things that had happened. And CJ had presented certainly what had transpired from his match, but there was also some footage that was recorded. And that recorded footage was put on the ROEW's YouTube page for Weekend Warfare, which took place this Saturday. And Jason has come on here tonight to talk about the situation from his side of things. And he is also a champion, and he will finish it wherever else it may be. He is still a part of IMF, but just to clarify, Jason Storm and ROEW, it is legitimate. They're no longer a part of each other's future and their plans, and obviously ROEW will go forward.
Really, if I could, sorry to interrupt, just break the fourth wall and say really like the main goal was I want to have like a killer run this year and like end my heel run. And I think, I don't know, maybe it doesn't even feel right to be a heel after this. I don't know where I lay in the landscape, but I think people want to see the run completed. So I don't know if that's, I don't know if the chat reflects that, but I think that's
I think you know what I'm gonna tell you what I think on that, and I'm gonna get to James, is that I think tonight we take a 1-day break of the character. I think tonight is a matter of the people that are in this chat, your peers, are tipping their hat to you and showing their respect. This is a 1-day kind of reprieval of what you've been, the puppet master, and everything you've said about coming on sports. But this is really a 1-day truce. I think, to me, what this is really, yes, you can go back to the character. I think people are expecting you to do that. But I think tonight is really for a moment to show a debt of gratitude to you. Thanks, and everything you've done by representing the community. I think it was very fitting. You were the All Wrestling Matters champion. I know it was Jovi's call, and he's obviously here, and I know you represented that title, and I think that you are getting the respect that you deserve from your peers, because almost every top guy from a top fed is here. I got, Comatose, Dvorak came in here, Chase Wakefield Wedding Invitational, Jack Delta and Big Man Cam, your predecessors. I saw Omen was in here, Justin Parsley, Kron, the guys from EWA. I mean, there's a long list of people that are here. And I think tonight isn't about the character. It's about saying, you know what, Jason Storm has gone out there and has been one of the greatest underground champions of this generation. He is a 5-time champion. He has been a multiple-time world champion. He has also helped a lot of guys out there. He has been a part of some of the greatest storylines in our generation. I think tonight is showing that they've got your back. And this is about respecting you and saying, you know what? You're not going to be forgotten. You're not going to be gone away. And ultimately, at the end of the day, this run will be completed one way or another, and time will tell. Yeah, I definitely agree. Time will tell. But James, anything that you want to say or anything that you'd like to address and such in our remaining time here and such?
The underground backyard wrestling scene is just it's a toxic place. I mean,
It was a bit
you
of
got
bad
good
week. I got to be
times.
honest, a lot of drama this week. I seen
There's
it,
Yeah,
a lot of drama.
a lot of drama.
Since I've come back into this, not just wrestling as a whole, because I've watched wrestling forever, but since I've come back into this in 2021, because of Anthony, obviously, is where it
Yes.
started. I mean, you get into a fed and they feed you what you think you're gonna like to hook you in, but then once you're in, all the drama and bullshit happens, and you start seeing the politics in backyard and underground wrestling. I think it's pretty selfish. It sucks and it's stupid. And the only way to really get over in a underground or backyard fed is if you're the owner, you're related to the owner, or um, well, you're there full time and you bust your ass more than the owner if you're even that lucky, that is. But anyways, I mean, you could clearly see the same shit's happening to Jason now. So Jason, I hate that it's come to this. Honestly, I wish there's somehow we could all come together, maybe have a big meeting or something. But I've reached out to Chris, and all he gave me was not now. And then the only
Have
other
you had
people
some
that I've talked
disagreements with
to,
him recently? Have you had any disagreements with CJ recently, James, on your end? I
me,
heard this. Yeah.
oh, the few times I've had quite a few disagreements with him. So here I am playing the part, and what he's always wanted was, hey, give me some feedback or give me what you think. All right, so I tell him what I think we should do. He instantly shuts it down. I guess he did that with you a lot, right? And he's like, "Do you have another idea that you could do as owner to try and do blah blah blah?" Okay, well let me do this, Jay, or let me do this, Chris. And I tell him this idea. He's like, "No, I was thinking we should do this." All right, well then it's what you want to do, not what you don't want to hear nobody
Right,
else's
exactly.
opinion. You clearly don't want to hear nobody else's fucking opinion, so
But a
go
lot
do
of
your
times
own
you
opinion.
come up with ideas that are broken, and you have to literally, the boys will have to piece it all together and like actually clean it up and make it make sense.
Yeah, he
He's
even
like
wanted
damn
me
near
to
Vince
help him.
Russo. Like he's the Vince Russo of the backyard.
Jason, do you remember when he wanted me to help him do commentary and I did one episode? And then when I
I
did
do
the next
remember that. I do
episode,
remember that.
I did the next episode, he didn't like it, so he changed it because he wanted it his way. He wanted
Yeah,
me to say certain things
yeah.
and I
He wants to have ROEW as his fed, but he doesn't want to edit. He doesn't want to do commentary. He doesn't want to do any of the work to have a fed.
Did you both push for maybe more content? Because obviously,
I've said
ROEW's
how to do
content has slowed a
commentary.
bit.
I've
Mhm.
offered to help. I've offered to learn how to edit.
no.
It's like a
And
control thing.
Everybody voted for me to do the commentary because they actually liked it. They said try and tone it, where it didn't sound like me as much, but the way I brought the energy, I don't know. But that's just little ideas and little
did
things
you
that
give
happen out there.
feedback, James, on certain things other than your work as owner? Would you, being the
Of
guy that
course.
you've been in, and what was the response? I mean, I hate to
I
ask.
had Alex reach out to me a few times. I've had Jacob Collins. The only people I've actually talked to since this whole thing too is Jacob Collins and Dark Cron and Jason. That's it. Those
Okay.
three randomly. And Jacob Collins has only been like, "What are we gonna do? Do you know? Have you heard from Jason or CJ?" And I was like, "I haven't heard from CJ much, but I have Jason."
Maybe
And
CJ
then
wants to reboot. Maybe he feels that he wants to start over. Do you think that's a possibility?
I think
I
if that's the case, he's an idiot, but that would be dumb
why
considering what
start
we've
over
I
built.
don't
when
know.
it's
I'm just
already
trying to
built?
figure it out. And, obviously, our friends in the EWA who were very kind for the super chat have got your back. And please hit the sub button for the EWA. Please. We've got 20 something people here on YouTube. Can somebody go give them some subs? Kron is there for this company. I've got a lot of people here in this chat that you're going to see some big names
I'll
here.
say
Some
if
big
you're
faces.
following me and you want to follow me, I will definitely be showing up there sooner rather
Yeah.
than later.
So go hit the sub button. There's a bunch of people here. I've got like 20 people on the YouTube stream. Go hit the sub button for them. We got them over 100 subs. Let's get them to 115. We're at 112. We got 19 people on the stream. Hit the sub button. It takes nothing. It costs nothing. All you have to do is hit that sub button. So please support the EWA. Who knows? Maybe you and James Taylor will show up there. Aaron Blaze also wants to add that he would like to say that James Taylor, if you want to talk, I'm up for a conversation. I don't mean he said, she said, high school stuff, real man to man. Also wants to say, I'm over the petty grudges and toxic stuff. It's tiring. It's not good for the community and the fan base for how similar and different they are. Also wants to add that he's not picking sides. He has his opinions with both. Ultimately, I think a conversation needs to be had for better or worse. I mean that genuinely. And yeah.
Blaze did reach out, and it wasn't that he was picking sides. So I'll say it wasn't like that. But so I respect Blaze, and I'm not hating on him.
Also, Cash Carter would like to add that James also criticizes a lot. I don't know why he's crying about CJ. He was nitpicking my stunner and some kicks I've done.
Yeah, talking trash about it when we were having fun about it because we poked jokes at each other, and you're like, "Look at Jay, look at this, look at me doing the stunner and making fun of James because he likes Stone Cold," and of course I'm gonna criticize it, but that was just me being me at the time. I
So
don't care. That has nothing to
there
do
was
with
no
this.
intent. Was there any malice toward that? Is that what
No,
you're trying to say?
no,
No.
I didn't give a damn. I've done things. I told Kron when he went to IMF that one time with Anthony. I was like, hey, be sure to give Anthony a stunner from me. Okay, and there it was. I told Jason if he wanted to in a match, give somebody a stunner. Just like you're throwing a dig at me or something. And he's done it. So there it is.
Like I say, I'll just say I understand why
Just
Colin sides with his brother. I do, but just know, Colin, all the stuff I've been doing was to put you over. But so I understand your opinions, and I'm not gonna shit on you as a person, but I was trying to do right by you at the end of the day.
Well, it's tough, and Riley Bates wants to call Aaron Blaze a poser, and that's what he said earlier today. So that's obviously I'm not going to get in the middle of any of that. But yes,
Let
James.
me add this. Let me add this. I'm not here to pick sides either. It's
Okay.
mostly of the fact of I see the frustration that somebody like Jason is having right now because I've been there too. Hell, look at what Aaron just said. Aaron's done it. Everybody has been through this type of bullshit because that's all it is. It's petty high school drama bullshit with politics because people are stuck in their own fucking egos, and when they build a company and because it's getting a little bit of momentum and it's getting some traction, they think all of a sudden their shit don't stink. So they're like, hey, that needs to be this way because it's hot. Think about the fact that these guys don't seem to get it, Jason. These guys create the platform. The only way it's going to grow is because of the talent that you put on it, not just yourself. You're not the one that's building it. Your talent is helping you. Look at Jason. Look at Dark Cron. These DKW guys. Matthew Forsaken and Jason or Dark Cron had a badass
Oh my
dog
God,
crawler
what a
match.
great match
You
that was.
know, I'm not to poke at Cash Carter. Cash Carter is a hell of a talent. Look what him and Jacob
Yeah,
Collins
I
just did.
love Cash
You
Carter
know,
wrestling in the ring. I mean, I love what CJ and Cash Carter do. I mean, I'm just trying to, Jason wanted to speak, and obviously, look, it's the way it goes. I would love to see, CJ and Cash are always welcomed on here. Anybody's, we want to see ROEW succeed. I mean, I think the fans,
of
a lot of
course.
us as fans, want to see ROEW do become even bigger. But let me ask you guys, is there a middle ground? Could there be a middle ground after all this talked about today? Could there be a middle ground between everybody? Would there be something like that? Or I'm just off base here. I don't know what I'm talking about.
I'll say I don't. The way everything's been happening, I don't see it happening. But I'm not. I'm not gonna say I'm not open to like talking with CJ or Chris or
I mean,
whatever you
Cash
guys
is
want to
here. I
call him.
mean, I'm
Everyone knows
sure,
him
he
as
would
CJ,
want to
so I have
talk
to
to
call him
him.
CJ for everybody that knows him as that. But
Yeah.
Chris, for anyone that doesn't know, is his name. If he wants to talk, and he wants to be respectful, the thing that really made me mad is he called me a dick. Like, I wasn't name calling anybody. You didn't have to call me a dick, like, for throwing out a different idea. Like, I understand if you don't want to do my idea, but
Was that video taken out of context that we saw with the filming? Was there prior stuff that wasn't filmed?
I mean, most definitely the conversation, it started off pretty civil and escalated. So I mean, you kind of see how those situations break down in like the day and age of cameras anyway, to where the full story is not always captured, which is why I felt the need to come on here tonight and
I
just
understand.
express, my side and just let everybody know that I'm not trying to steal a title belt or, take
So
my
you feel
balls
that the way that was
home.
framed wasn't the whole truth. It wasn't the
It was a
whole
smear
story.
campaign, honestly. Like I'm gonna call it what it was. It was a smear campaign on me.
Well, I
It
mean,
was.
technically,
It was
legally,
disrespectful, to be
in
honest.
that video, you said you bought the title, anyways, didn't you?
I did, and that's the whole preface of
So
it.
technically, that's
If
your
CJ wanted
property.
to buy me out on it, bring the cash.
I
That
mean,
same type of crap with a belt happened in Tennessee, and one guy bought the belt and he wouldn't give it back because he actually put he put his money into it, and that's understandable. It's
Yeah,
your
I think if you
property.
bought that championship, look, I mean,
That's
leave
yours.
aside, that's yours. I mean, I don't know that's up to you to decide whatever you'd like to call it.
I mean,
But
people can say it's wrong and it's bad business, whatever it is, but at the end of the day,
No.
Chris has the social medias. He has all this footage of me on his platform, and he has the platform to basically cut this promo and air this footage and smear me. So my leverage is that I have the belt that I paid for. Like that's my little bit of leverage, I guess, if there is any stake into, I guess, an argument, if there is one to be had. But I mean, at this point, I'm kind of just like, it is what it is. I'm not gonna keep, I'm not gonna keep wasting my energy and showing up and dealing with the toxic environment. And
yeah, I mean, look,
I want to see
ultimately,
people
if you're not comfortable, I mean, you
what is
shouldn't be
Jacob
anyway.
Collins? Like Jacob Collins. I'll use him as a big example, and he can speak up on it or he can say nothing. That's up to him. But Jacob has done almost nothing this year, and that is because Chris has fucking bullied that man into not
Are
wanting to
you
barely
saying that
wrestle
there's
anymore.
wait a minute? Are you saying that there's bullying that goes on in RWW? Are you saying that there
I'll
is?
say it. I'm not gonna say like harassment, but I mean, when you have a match and then Chris picks it apart and nothing you do is good, how like what's the motivation to keep coming to wrestle? I bullying maybe isn't the best term, but
Okay, because maybe, well, then in that case,
bullying.
maybe he's just trying. Do you think he's tried to help him? Because I mean, there's been footage of CJ out there.
There's
He really does seem to help people. So, what would you
okay,
say on that?
there's helping and there's like nothing I do is good enough kind of thing. And I feel like that's the point. Like Jacob has made strides to be better. He's done, he's made
Yeah, I mean,
stuff happen.
Jacob. I think I do think that Jacob
the whole
has
the
worked
whole
hard.
skit that I was able to beat Jacob up in the church was because of Jacob. He put that together. He's brought plenty to the table for ROEW, for Chris, for Colin. And I just feel like he doesn't get the recognition he deserved. The fans wanted to see him be ROEW champion. They pull the rug of, under him from that, and the excuse was, he's not believable as champion. And then he gets the prestige title because, okay, it's a mid card title. He can do that. And Jacob got this new job and he couldn't show up for a couple weekends. And then the whole thing is, well, he has the belt and can't show up. But literally, Jacob quit that job and just got a new job so he could come to RVW and wrestle again. But Chris still pulled the belt from him and put it on Gab.
Do you feel that? Well, let me get to Cash first. He also would like to say that you had bullied Jacob and you watched him drop me on my neck, and after he left, you made fun of him and he left. LOL. So that's what he would like to say toward that.
I wouldn't say, I mean, the certain situation he's talking about, an unsafe maneuver was performed, and I made what I thought of it vocalized in front of everyone. I didn't make fun of Jacob, but I will say, in terms of like picking on everybody, and James can contest that all of us were involved in that. Cry, JX, the list goes on. We all poke fun at each other. Like that's
Okay,
the
well
thing.
then that's not
It's
a
like
big deal.
it's what boys do. But I mean, as far as what happened, there was a situation, and I wouldn't say I made fun of him, but I definitely made it known that it was that specific moment. It was not safe, and I told Jacob it was not safe.
Now, James, let me ask you a question. You've been around. You've been in a lot of different places. You've been in a couple of big places that shall, well, one you mentioned Tennessee, but does bullying go on in wrestling locker rooms? Is that a thing where people maybe rag on one another? I mean, is that something that's accurate, or maybe it's a strong
Um,
word?
it's hit or miss. I mean, it can happen. It just depends on how close you are with certain people. If y'all are like what Jason said, you boys, like back in my old day with the TWF, me and my friend Nick and Chris and Chance and all these guys, we were like that. We'd make fun of each other, but we knew what we could say to each other without hurting each other's feelings because we were just talking shit
Well, let
like
me
guys
ask
do.
you. All right, let me break the
But
fourth wall. You're in BYCW. Does any of that go on in BYCW? You're their champion.
nothing.
No.
They are nothing but respectful to me. At least to me. I don't know how they are behind the scenes, but every time I'm there, they're like 100%
And you're in the
professional.
group chat in
They're happy
BYCW.
I'm
And
there. I'm happy to be there.
are you in the group chat in BYCW? There's a group chat, right?
Yeah.
And
You know,
everything's good.
I've
Everything's
been
good.
in and out of it, but not a whole lot because they talk about stuff I don't really care for.
Okay, that's fair.
So I talk mostly with just Dalton privately because I
Okay.
want to know where we're going with what I'm doing, and plus, it is what it is. It's a run that's
So
happening
what's
for
the
a short time.
relationship? So what's the differences with your relationship with Dalton versus CJ? What do you
I
see?
mean, Dalton is completely open to all ideas. He loves every one of them. He'll pitch an idea. I'll tell him what I think of it. He goes, "Hey, what if we tweak and do this?" Dude, don't ask me. You're the owner. I think that's cool. I'll tell him if I disagree or not. As any talent should with their boss. And I'll pitch my idea, and almost 90% of the time, maybe it's just because he's a nice guy. I don't know, but he'll go with it.
Yeah,
And I haven't done a whole lot with
I
BYCW.
know.
Yeah, I'm the champion at the moment, but I'm not having I'm not having a run like what Jason's doing. Nothing like that.
No, but you've
I'm literally
obviously
considered
CJ.
a
You're
part
in the
timer.
ROE. You're a part of ROEW. You were part of BYCW. I
Yeah.
thought that would be something, and we'll be here for a few more minutes. But CJ is very critical. Omen Black would like to say when James was here, he gave me a swirly, but then took me for ice cream. So I'm conflicted.
Yeah, I was trying to make him feel better.
Oh, that's nice. That's nice. We like that. And yeah, I mean, listen. I mean, I just hope for the best for everybody. I think really, but here's what it comes down to.
I do bully Omen Black every time I show up.
But here's what it comes down to, right? I think if you were worried that people were going to forget about you or not remember you, Jason Storm, tonight definitely showed that far from it. There is no question that what you've done, there's a lot of people that are fully in your corner. There is a lot of people that really can't wait to see what you'll do. And I have no doubt that the best is yet to come for you. Whatever else happens with CJ and Cash, I'm on their side too. I hope that they, keep doing. We love ROEW here. And also if the footage was taken and got it worse, I'm curious as to why it was posted on YouTube. To me, it sounds like CJ wanted to make Jason look bad.
Probably.
That's why I said it was a smear campaign. I would agree that it was made and manipulated a little bit to try to make me look bad. He put some clipping of him talking before, trying to sound like he's. And I don't mean pun intended because his character is the good guy, but painting himself as the good guy and saying basically, I took my ball and went home. I wouldn't drop the title. I wouldn't do all this. I don't want to drop the title to him because I want to put over his brother who hasn't been the world champion.
So you felt that the storyline didn't indicate that he should get it because of
it is what sense for me to be on this run, and everyone's talking about this legendary run. I'm not even on Sportswire. People are talking about me.
Yeah, you get talked about a lot. I got to be honest. You get talked about.
I'm not even tooting my own horn. It happens. I see it happen. And then, okay, I dropped the All Wrestling Matters title, which, by the way, I didn't clear that with Jovi. I did that, because I believed in what Chris...
Well, all right. Well, you brought it up. You saw Jovi yesterday, right? You saw him in Palo. What was that? Was there a conversation? What was that like?
We didn't really talk, I guess. We kind of talked before. He just asked me if Chris actually had possession of the belt, which...
Had CJ spoken to Jovi at all?
I'm not aware of any conversations they've had, but I just know that a lot of people, like I said, which rightfully so, because it's wrestling, a lot of people thought it was a work. So, I think Joey rightfully asked if CJ actually had possession of the belt, which obviously he does. But I'm not aware of anything between Jovi and CJ. That's kind of for them to hash out right now.
Yeah, and I understand that, but there is a point of that to be made that Jovi has Jovi's belt.
Because they trusted, Jovi trusted me with that belt, and I told them basically I'll kind of do whatever I want with it and kind of circle back around with it, and that was the whole thing too. The plan was to put that belt back on me, and then it's a mess. It really is a mess, and I feel like I'm kind of the asshole in that one too, because it wasn't my belt to basically just be like, here, it was supposed to be.
Well, we've seen this famously in wrestling history. Listen, I mean, Bret Hart, Vince McMahon, I mean, I don't want to go down that road. This is only underground wrestling, but
Right,
from
right.
Jovi's perspective, I mean, do you expect, what would you think CJ, you both are veterans, you're both world champions currently. Do you think that CJ Black, what do you think he'll do with it? Would maybe Soldier get the title back again, or you don't know now because of this?
So I don't think CJ would disrespect it or disrespect Jovi, because Jovi didn't do anything to ROEW. Jovi didn't do anything to CJ, and CJ is not going to throw shots where it's not directed.
Yeah, I don't think anybody's taking a
If
shot at CJ
anything
tonight, or
is
at
to
least from
come,
my end or Jovi's end. No,
because here's the thing, I could see Chris making skits on ROEW about this, and then people are going to jump to it is a work because he's making promos or whatever about it. But
well, that's why
that's
some people
literally
are
the
kind of
pettiness
wondering
of
why it
Chris.
would be a work, because there's obviously, you guys have a humor, and sometimes you guys do things, and I'm sure that there'll be something from your words tonight that'll be on their platform, which is they're entitled to
That's
that.
what I'm saying, because I feel like it'll get turned into like now there's going to be, he's going to try to retaliate in a promo or something, and then everyone. But I'm not, like, after tonight, I'm not going to, I'm going to focus on going to this new Fed.
Okay.
And,
Well, we're going to end the
doing,
show soon, but I want to go back to you, James, because you're here right now. You showed up here. You spoke with Jason, and your situation seems to be very unclear. Is that correct in ROEW? What is just to determine what is your status in ROEW?
I don't know. So I'm gonna say that I'm just put on the back burner right now. So
Do you see a reason for you to be in
that
ROEW
my
now?
main purpose, my main reason of playing owner and being a part of it was obviously to be welcomed into ROEW, and I get that because of the other shit that I was going through with the other town, the other places in Tennessee.
Yeah.
But beside the point, Chris and Jason liked what I did, so they brought me in with open arms, and here I am, offered me a spot with the owner character doing that. And my whole purpose was to get there so I can have a match with Jason. So I could say I've been to ROEW and even probably have a match with maybe Chris or definitely Dark Kron.
I
Well, we've
think
talked
Kron would have
about it.
made, yeah,
Everything we've talked
Kron.
about it is legit.
Yeah.
My main goal was me versus Jason. That's what everybody wants to see. That's what he wants to
So
see. That's what I
I don't want to
wanted.
put it this way, but do you feel that your character has been murdered?
What do you mean murdered?
Meaning that your push, right?
The owner?
Yes, the owner, meaning your thing was with Jason, right? So now if Jason's out, right? And he's saying, this is real. I want to make sure this is real. This is everything.
100%.
Where would, so,
Literally.
okay. So then your character,
With
right?
the accent, yep.
So basically your character, there's,
Well, I guess.
and you
just
said you have
drop
had no
off
con,
and
and
go
I
off.
want to confirm this I make sure, again, not my word. I want to make sure that this is not me saying anything. That way, I want this to be in your words. You have had no contact with CJ since Weekend Warfare? Just want to confirm that.
I've had one line from CJ in contact, and that was not right now. Meaning, maybe that's I'm gonna put you on the back burner and I'll get back to you, or
Well, I
I'm
think
gonna put you on the
tomorrow
back
will be
burner
an
and leave you there
interesting
to open
day,
to.
because tomorrow you might get some contact, because people heard tonight. I mean,
I've
a lot
already got
tonight.
other things lined up that I've told you about.
Yeah,
Next
we
Saturday,
talked about that.
I'm
You're
going
going to
to an
be here
event.
for that probably next weekend. That
Yeah.
is going to put this into context. But let me get to some more comments. People want to talk to you. Jade is here, and Jason Storm is a baby potato. Thank you for putting this in that way. Honestly, I think maybe a week or so, people should sit down and talk and pivot from there, at least to have that talk. And I did ask that. I think that's a fair point. I mean, I know I'm not one to talk, but I've lost enough friends over this stuff. Also, the Prophet Jordan Crowley has become one of my favorites on here. He doesn't always like us, but I do like him being on here. Words. This guy's, I can't wait to bring him on Sportswire one day. Words, he might take over for me. Maybe that's the way to go. I'm ready to retire. Words can't hurt unless the truth strikes a nerve. Okay. Sometimes the truth hurts. I've been bullied my whole life and still get bullied. I'm in my 20s. I've learned to grow a backbone and clap back. Yeah, we don't want to condone any of that. I'm not saying that there's bullying in wrestling, but in general, I really don't want to condone that, and I want to make that clear. You've got a good wrestling family, and the Sportswire family is in your corner. I want to put that out there. I mean, I know people go, oh, Sportswire's dead, not for the music shows. But tonight, the community was like, we got to come out. That's why I said it's a one-day truce for you. It's a one-day truce that you got. Go back to your character, I assume, tomorrow. But tonight it was people saying, you know what, Jason Storm, all you've done, thank you for all you've done for our sport. Thank you for representing the community. Thank you for being one of the greatest talents in our generation. Thank you for bringing entertainment. Thank you for putting a smile and not a smile on our faces. Thank you for everything you've done. And I think that's what this family said and what this family did, and that the amount of support that you got is overwhelming. I mean, overwhelming. I mean, I want to put that in context. Pitbull Gary Wolf didn't get this many people on here. He got, like 10 people on the live. You did 2 and he's an
It means a
ECW
lot.
legend.
It really means a lot to see you like,
because you've been a generational. When I think about this
Behind the
platform,
scenes,
you're there, man.
I hear people like you and other people tell me stuff like that, and like I just think about myself on a day to day, and I don't really see that, and I don't believe that all the time. So to hear the assurance and the affirmations, it means the world, and to see the turnout, seriously, guys, thank you.
No, this was really. I think it's a confirm. It's confirming that what you've done as a champion, your sacrifices you've made from your family. You work multiple jobs. You have a young family at home. You go through a lot. It's not easy, and you have done so much for our sport. You've done so much for our community, and that's why people came out tonight to say, yeah, I got Jason Storm's back. This guy, Jason Storm, he's all right, and I stand with him, and I think that you got the community's support. You got it loud and clear. And yeah, telling someone you're not worth wrestling or something along those lines is considered harassment. And it's funny, she said that I just took a class this afternoon. I just took a legal class on harassment laws in the United States. This is like, oh my God, I didn't even think that. Yes, she's actually right. That is absolutely 100% accurate. And I don't, disagree with that. Jason, you look like one of those dumb guys from Spy Kids. You are getting certainly the comments. And also, no matter what the context is now or has been back then, Jade says that you love her. I took her upper photo. I support BYW, ring or not, trampoline or not. Jason, you're a guy I feel I've helped. Your family. CJ helped me become a better wrestler. Welcome me into his home. I'm not picking sides. Storm is solid. One thing's for certain, it sounds like Jason is seemingly aiming to be known in BYW as Simply Timeless. There you go. Very clever here. And if you're here, hit the sub button for me. And I hope that truth strikes the right nerve of a Storm. That's why he's the prophet. If you're going where I think you're going, I'll see you there when I'm cleared. Who knows? Maybe same goes for James. Same goes for CJ. I have no hate in my heart. Does no good. And I do have to admit, Storm called me out, but it was fun. Thank you. All right, we've talked plenty. I got the point. First of all, James Taylor, do you have any closing thoughts? Anything else you want to plug before we sign off here tonight?
Well, Jason, you reach out and talk if you ever want to just keep talking or whatever, and just give me an update what you want, what you're doing, what you want to do. If you want to find another place that we can continue this story of ours, if you want to.
I'm gonna I'm gonna give you a little plug and let you finish your closing thought. James, behind the scenes, is my TikTok coach, y'all. So if you're trying to grow your TikTok, James charges a hefty fee, of course. So just hit him up and he'll let you know. But he is my coach, so all the progress and the actual production behind my videos, James has helped me a lot behind the scenes. He's really the GOAT. Continue, James. I'm sorry to interrupt.
I appreciate that. I didn't charge you nothing though. You know that.
I'm trying to get money for the other people.
I'll love here, bud. You know that. Anyways, but I just wish, I'm just tired of the petty drama and all the bullshit like that. If you're going to run a company, just run the company successful and just enjoy your fucking talent. Don't get jealous of your talent. That's the way I kind of see it. I was in that company in Tennessee. Me personally, I feel like maybe I'm on the same shoes as Jason. I had better matches than the rest of the card. Everybody that I was down there doing, and they just like, no, you're going to be opening match. You're going to be this match, blah, blah, blah. And that's it. It is what it is. But next weekend, I'm going to a company called OCW. More to come on that one. I already got my match set up and booked, so stay tuned to that. You're going to be seeing
about that next weekend because originally, James, you were supposed to be here in Jason's spot, but we actually moved you for a change.
Oh yeah.
But boy, oh boy, he made it on here, Tom.
Yeah. I'm sure somebody's going to make that joke. I'm sure somebody's going to say it tomorrow.
I didn't push myself. I was
No, you didn't. It was funny, but it was
I'm
funny. I
focused.
thought somebody in the chat would like that. But yeah, James is on TikTok. He's really got a following. He's got 88,000 followers. I hear something in the background, but please support James. Support all the things he does, and we're looking forward to seeing him here. But also, Big Man Cam wants to say, I've said all I'm going to say on the matter. I don't hate or dislike CJ, but he rubbed me the wrong way countless times. I wish him luck. Well, that's one way to look at it, and he's got your back. Kron said he's got your back. I think a lot of people got your back.
That
And
means a lot from a lot of firsthand people that have witnessed.
Dude, you got 22 people here at 11:51 p.m. on Sunday on YouTube. 22.
That's crazy because even I'm damn near exhausted.
I did a show before you. Listen. I mean, I'm like, and I did a class on law. I did an hour and a half on law today because I just got hired for something that I have to use my experiences. And I did one class on HIPAA laws, and the other one I did the harassment laws in the United States. How do you think my head feels? All right, so I hear you.
Yeah.
So all right, but yeah, follow James and the man of the hour, the man who's certainly the man of the underground community right now, Jason Storm. And I'm going to naturally select to pass the baton to you. And I hope to get you back on here in character next time. But in the meantime, let me give you the floor. Let me give you some closing thoughts and anything else you want to plug, share, or say. Take it away.
Yeah, simply first, again, thank you everyone for all the support. If you are supporting me, and I'm not asking anyone to stop supporting Chris or Colin or RWW. They have their opinions. I'm going to have mine, and that's fine. If you like the product, keep watching it. Lastly, Jason Storm obviously isn't done. ROEW is not the be-all, end-all for me. I'm only just getting started. You'll see me on IMF. You're going to see me other places. It's only just the beginning. So don't be a bandwagon fan. Follow my TikTok at jason.storm.
And you just got another follower, by the way, on TikTok. Just saying, you just got another follower on TikTok. I put the link up, and you went from 1662 to 1663. So if you're out there on TikTok, yeah, you got another follower. I try to take care of my people on here. So yeah, if you're here and you haven't been on TikTok, but you have an account, go give Jason a follow. He's got 60. He got like 1,000 of them in a week. He literally got I remember we had like 300 followers like 2 months ago.
One of my videos went viral. I don't know.
I saw that. I by the way, I want to say, to break character, I share a lot of your videos. I
see that, and I appreciate it. James has been on it too.
I share
if you
everything.
repost my stuff, I appreciate it, and I'll try to repost all your.
You don't have to do anything for me. Just you coming on tonight and being here in prime time, I think was good enough. I don't, I always tell people, listen, we got on Blabbermouth, we got the band a million times, and I owe you, by the way. I do want to thank you on something, by the way, if I could. I want to break the fourth wall before we go. I want to owe you a debt of gratitude because you were one of the guys that got Rhino on Sportswire alongside CJ and Cash. I'd like to give them some thank you as well. But I do want to thank you because you said to the man that he should come on here. And you got, along with CJ and Cash, I'd like to give them also thanks to, because they did a great job for that. But I do want to thank you for that. That got all these big names on here. So I owe you a debt of gratitude on that. So I would like to say thank you. And as well,
any help I could have had in the matter. And yet, obviously, CJ and Delta even had a huge play in that. But, yeah, we collectively just went up to Rhino and we're like, hey, we know Tom Bryce from New York. You probably don't know him. You're going to know him. Go on Sportswire.
No, and you know what? And I really helped with a lot of the heavy metal bands that sell millions. And I talk to them and they go, well, who have you had on? And I tell them I've had Rhino on. They go, okay, you're good. No, we're good. I'll come on. It's funny. I get emails and that Rhino and Savio Vega a little bit, but Rhino is the one they know because of ECW. So they like, okay, LA Guns I got because the Kings, Alexander Ford, their manager is a friend of mine now because he saw the Rhino thing. So, and he, Symphony X, I have Colossal Street Jam and best episode of Sportswire in a while. Keep that white hot momentum you've got going. Well, you got to keep the momentum going. It's not about me, but I wish the best for all parties. I agree with that completely. And one more time, hit the sub button for the EW. We got 20-something people here. We got them one more subscriber. We got 20-something people. Can you go hit the sub button for them? I have a feeling you're going to be seeing some favorites on the platform.
I will say fourth wall breaking on this one. You are, like I already said, I'm going to be there, but I've already been in talks with them.
Yeah, he told me on Facebook. I'm just saying, he told me, so I got to take care of business. And you know, I have one more photo before we go. I gotta put it up because I have one here that they want to show, and I better do it because if I don't, I'm gonna certainly lose more people. So let me put this up, and Justin Parsley might want to see this especially because it's involving Jason Storm, and Zilla said, well, I can't agree fully with Zilla on that, but let me go put this here up because this is what Princess Jade wanted to show of Justin Parsley and Jason Storm. So, yeah, that's how we're ending the evening.
Teamwork makes the dream work.
That's true, and I'm with Omen. We love everybody, and thank you, Omen, on his platform. And yeah, please sub to EWA. We have their champion here Thursday. Okay, fellas, that's a wrap. It's time. It's time to sign off for now. We'll see everybody here tomorrow night with Angel Santiago, the TF Crew YouTube champion. And yeah, he's got some tough shoes to fill, but I think he'll do a good job. But thank you, everybody. Thank you, James Taylor. Jason, we got you back. We love you. We all love you. And we all, you know, people talk about all the time, oh, the community's divided. We're not getting along. No, we're more united. And I think this is going to bring a lot of people together. And I think tonight is an example of that because the kind of turnout that you got, to me, shows that, no, I think people are united. And this might be one of those things that does unite people more than maybe we have ever anticipated. So that's that, fellas. Thank you so much. We'll certainly see what you guys do here in the near and distant future. And that is James Taylor, I think is still the ROBW owner. Who knows after this? And Jason Storm, the puppet master who has a championship. It may or may not be the ROBW championships, but he is one of the greatest underground champions of our generation. He is a 5-time champion. And thank you, everybody here, for tuning in. My name is the Reverend Tom Bryce. You have voice figuratively and literally. We're all music and wrestling matters. Please support these guys, support their companies they're a part of. And I'll see everybody tomorrow. And good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are here on the Underground. Then Backyard Wrestling Network here, Sportswire Radio, and good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. And yep, we love you all, and we'll see you. And thank you, Dakota. Hit the sub button for Dakota on her YouTube channel. Support her, and we don't tolerate bullying, and we'll see you tomorrow.